Hello, welcome to the Aartech Pro Connect Podcast, where we connect the industry experts to the industry pros with real conversations. I'm Allie, and I am joined by Jeff Barrett, Aartech's VP of Sales and Marketing. Today we are chatting with ASSA ABLOY, exploring their large variety of door control solutions across their many brands, including Accentra, Centrios, Doorbird, HES, Norton, and many more. Access control is an area we've been seeing a huge growth in lately, so let's dive in.
So thank you everybody for joining us today for another Aartech podcast. Today we're focused on access control, and we're joined today by Chad Wilson of ASSA ABLOY. ASSA ABLOY and Chad support us with several brands, most specifically that we'll reference today: Doorbird, Centrios, Accentra, which was kind of the Yale commercial that's been migrated over to the Accentra platform. So yeah, Chad, why don't you take a quick moment and introduce yourself? Everybody knows who we are.
Yeah, I'm Chad Wilson from ASSA ABLOY. I'm in the DSS side, which is Door Security Solutions. I'm currently working with the wholesale channel in Ontario. So I work with everybody like Aartech and represent them to our company and provide customer service to them. I also deal with a lot of end users as well. So I'm kind of responsible for the verticals of universities, colleges, K-12, government infrastructure, municipalities, things like that. So I kind of deal with both sides there. So I've got my hand and a little bit of knowledge on both sides of the fence in that, which definitely has its pros. So.
Yeah, and this is why we wanted to talk to you. You and I talked about this before. We talked about bringing in somebody that could talk more on the technical side, but really today we want to talk more theory, why people are hesitant to get into access control and kind of some of those points. So I think your background in the verticals that you cater to will be perfect for this. So,
yep.
So thank you for joining us today, and let's dive in. So let's talk a little access control. I'm going to start with a bit of what I kind of see access control as. I think access control has a bit of a reputation as being complicated, IT heavy, even risky to a lot of installers. One wrong move and you're jeopardizing the customer's entire infrastructure, right? That's a lot of the fears that I hear from installers. So a lot of competent camera and alarm installers, even electricians, just avoid it altogether. And to me, this is often leaving huge revenue opportunities on the table. So from my conversations, installers are hesitant just in general, not because of access control, but it's the network that makes them nervous. So we'll touch on that a little bit as we going through here as well. And we've done a podcast on that specifically already. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. If you're already installing IP cameras, smart home, alarms, et cetera, you're already in the networking world. You're already kind of addressing a lot of those stresses. So today I want to unpack kind of what access control really is, where the fears come from, and whether installers are ultimately overthinking this leap into access control. Mm-hmm. So Chad, when you're talking to installers, are you seeing a lot of this too, or what's your kind of interpretation?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on the installer and what kind of field they're in. I'll take, kind of locksmiths, for example. The obviously, the keying is their bread and butter, and they don't really want to kind of dive into that. It's very complicated. They feel like technology's kind of out of their hands. Small time integrators, the same thing. I think they're overshooting their abilities, and not trusting their abilities to learn and go through the process. And so it's a little bit fearful for them on the front end, but it's like anything, right? You kind of dive in and just start somewhere. And, I will say ASSA ABLOY is a great resource for learning. We offer a lot of great programs and a lot of great resources to learn and kind of go at your own pace as well. And before you know it, like, it's just like anything, like all of a sudden you're talking the language and you kind of know the ins and outs, and it's just a matter of diving in, I think, and investing a little bit of time to get that comfortability. And once you kind of cross the fence, then it becomes easier every day. And the more you learn, the more comfortable you get with it, because you do not want to miss this ship, as it's, as it's growing. Right. So the big thing right now is while keys and keying is always going to be there. it's kind of hitting a plateau with growth, right? Everybody's got it. There's going to be opportunity there for sure, but where you really want to hit up is mobile credentials. This is where the world's going. Convenience, and access control. The way I like to describe access control is it's a high level of security with a high level of convenience, right? And this is where universities are going, colleges are going, municipalities. Everybody's going towards access control, and predominantly for that mobile credential. That's what we're seeing. So
Yeah,
you don't want to miss the ship. You definitely want to tackle these opportunities and get on that boat. So
yeah, 100%. And we'll come back to the support a little bit later, and we'll have some links in the comment section as well to some training and things like that. So yeah, with your verticals, you kind of touched on a few things there. Access control isn't what people really think anymore. And maybe I'm dating myself a little bit, but when I talk about access control or introduce it to somebody that's not doing it, they often think of high-rise office buildings, 15 stories at Bay of Bloor in Toronto, something like that. When it's really not all enterprise, it's not all IT heavy. It's not one wrong wire and the door won't open scenarios, right? Once the system's installed and functioning properly, it's kind of key. So at its core, what is access control really solving for customers? I'm going to throw this to you in a minute. You've touched on a little bit. For me, it's just a digital audit right off the bat. For me, that's the number one thing, right? Is in a condominium, multi-residential, which is a lot of what we do access control in. I don't know if my superintendent's coming and going with a key. But if I've got a fob system or if I've got digital access control on the door, I'm definitely aware of that. So what is access control really solving for customers in your world?
Yeah, a couple things. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. It's definitely providing that audit capability, allowing the visibility to see who's going in and out, using what door where, and that heightens your security. It's also providing a convenience as well. So, if I can manage who's coming out and who has access from a beach, yeah. that's while I'm maintaining that high level of security, like that's a big draw. That's a big pro for people where they don't necessarily have to be on site all the time. And I mean, it depends on what your application is, there's certain times where you definitely want to be on site still, like universities, colleges, things like that. You want to have somebody manage that on site. But yeah, it's not necessarily just for high rises. That's always going to be a growing platform for sure. Application, I should say. But we're starting to see everybody kind of want this, and even your small businesses and your even residential is becoming a thing where we're starting to see. I'm going to use one of our products, Doorbird, for example. You can get access control through that intercom system just by having it on the front door, right? Very convenient for homeowners as well. So. Yeah. And instead of having your kid get a key or whatnot, and losing a key, you just give them access on their phone, and there's all kinds of different ways to get a keypad or whatever. So there's a lot of convenience on a lot of different applications alongside that audit for sure. So I would say those are the two kind of main benefits, is convenience and the audit trail.
Yeah, the 4 points that I kind of touch on: control, convenience, you touched on, accountability. I'm expecting my employee to inspect this machine every 30 minutes, but are they? I mean, this gives me the ability to hold people accountable for that. Yeah. And then ultimately, kind of all of that together is liability reduction. Whether it's a multi-res, whether it's a building, whether it's industrial, schools are huge in today's safety concerns in our world. Yep. So, I mean, for me, liability reduction kind of ties all that together. Yep. So, and yeah.
Just to touch on that as well, and another sort of benefit for on an installer side is also generating that revenue, right? That recurring revenue on their side. So it's a great way to there's different plans that they can apply and however they want to structure their business model. But it is an extra source of revenue for a lot of installers. So that's
Yeah.
all I think about.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of fears that I mentioned, and I don't want to dive too much into fears. I think everybody understands that. We don't need to put that in their heads, but we can certainly it's kind of show them a footprint as to how to get going. But one of the fears that I do get is, what if it doesn't work? What if I wire it wrong? What if it gets too technical? What if I can't support it after? But to me, what you just said is the nail on the head as well. What if I lose money as a fear? But really, if you're not taking the job on, you've already lost the money. So, and in addition to that, you're risking your customer, in my opinion, because if you're bringing in a third-party subcontractor for that piece and you're doing everything else on the project, you're potentially, your customer's sitting back going, well, what if this person could do all of this? And then they're essentially replacing. So the what if I lose money, which is fair. We're all in business to earn money, and that's our biggest fear. But I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there as well.
And I think just to back up your point, I know that's a huge fear for people thinking to get into this, but just to reassure you on that side is, as good as the products are, it does take a little bit of there's always kinks on every project we do, and there's never any project that goes perfectly. So that's just the nature of the beast. And it's reassuring from an ASSA. I can only speak from an ASSA ABLOY point of view that the support is so high here, and we have so many experts on our side to kind of hold your hand through these programs and assist you as we go along. We want you to succeed. So and we do like a lot of certification programs on the front end in access control. We don't want you going out there blind, right? So let's take our IN series or a Perio, for example. We don't sell to you unless you're certified, right? So the reason for that is because we don't want you to go out and mess up a whole bunch of stuff. We want you to be prepared, right? So we do provide that level of support at ASSA ABLOY, and we want you to succeed. We want our products to succeed out there. So we're here to support you, and just dive in and reach out to us, or Aartech, for example, how we can support you and as you kind of jump into this journey, right?
Yeah, 100%. And there's a lot of different reasons as to why people are hesitating, but I think we have a locking expert in-house. We do some training. We work with you guys very closely. You've helped train our locking expert. So today we'll walk through some of the steps that I think will make it a higher success rate to get people kind of involved. And I like to say it's not actually harder. It's just unfamiliar territory, right? I mean, so.
Completely. I think, I'd be talking to today as well. I know you guys don't really deal with like locksmiths quite as much, but that's a big jump to make from locksmith to integration, but it's not as hard as you think, right?
Yeah.
Trust me, if you can do keying, you can do access control.
Well, I think that's kind of the message we're saying. And so we don't do as much with locksmiths as we'd like for exactly the reasons that you say. And this video is kind of aimed a little bit at them and electricians and some people that are doing certain related services, but not diving right in. And that is the often what locksmiths often are, kind of they have their way. They've been doing successful in a lot of ways, so they don't want to venture into the quote unquote technological side. So today, it's not harder. It's just unfamiliar. There is a learning curve, no question, but there's a lot of repetition to these systems once you get into them. Fair?
For sure. I think the the thing to learn for sure is just compatibility. What works with what, and what software works with what hardware, and what's compatible. I think that would be the more focus to put into it, right? So but again, we can support with that stuff too. So
okay, so let's give them a starting point. So I kind of broke this down into a little bit of a way. Like let's make it normal. Let's kind of make it a progression. So I'm saying let's start with a 1 to 2 door system, right? Like let's find an opportunity, and we often refer a lot of our installers these because we get leads on the retail side asking for installers that we don't install. We sell to installers. So we make that referral, and I love to make that first referral to somebody that's interested. And you talked about residential. Access control is absolutely meshing into the residential world more and more all the time. Just simple gate control for a pool inspection or hot tub or whatever the case may be for kids and things. So if we start with a one door system, what brand would you recommend we kind of dive into out of your window?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, Doorbird is a huge one for, a one door application or two door application. It's an intercom system that also comes with software, but it's a very simple, very user friendly software, right? It's such a great bridge to kind of dabble into that. And the second one, I mean, actually, maybe a tier up, and I don't know if you're going to ask that question, but so there's Doorbird for very simple, right? Next up I'd probably say Centrios. So, you're starting to get into like 10 doors, we'll say 10 to 50 doors, right? There's different packages. I'm not going to get into that right now, sure. But again, the software is incredibly user friendly. It's very easy to use. Like, I've even done it, and if I can do it, it's such a great bridge for guys who I'm going to go to locksmiths just because it's purely mechanical, and that's such an extreme case, right? So I'm going to say locksmiths actually could totally introduce themselves to access controls through Centrios. It's almost more of a locksmith play. That's the beauty of it, is how simple it is to kind of dabble into that and see how it works, right? So you're getting that access control, you're getting those audits, but it's just so user friendly, right? You don't have to worry about compatibility and IT and things like that. So it's a great starter for bridging over into that access control realm.
Yeah, Centrios in particular, I'm going to come back to Doorbird in a second. Centrios in particular is a nice, unique one that I like to introduce people to because it does take a lot of the networking out of it, right? I mean, with the data by card, data by smartphone, however you want to term that, it really does mean that you can have individual locks that aren't so dependent on the network. So as being one of the biggest fears I hear as an objection, I think that really kind of hits the nail there.
Yeah, it's so simple, and it allows you to kind of see how to manage a system as an administrator or a manager, whatever case, and then you can kind of learn. The same applies to a higher level of access system. It's just a little more intricate with compatibility, and there's obviously more bells and whistles involved with that. It can tie into a whole bunch of stuff. I won't get into the technical today, but yeah, again, Centrios is just it's a very simplified version that allows you to kind of experiment and see, oh, okay, well, this is the benefit of this, and this is why people want to use this, and I can now teach people how to do this, and it's such a great learning tool for guys who have no experience with access control. It's very simple.
Yeah, it's very simple, and it's pretty flexible too. I mean, we talked to a lot of installers about a lot of different things. Now they have the access control padlock, which is great to tie into. So it's not just about doors all the time. That's a storage facility. That could be a locker in my condominium where I'm just assign padlocks to each storage locker. So if somebody's in and out of them, and it gives the super or security to the opportunity to get in there too. If there's a chemical spill from somebody's storage unit, it gives them the ability to get in. So definitely that's a play with it, but taking the networking out really helps. Go back to Doorbird for a second. I really like that as a jumping point too. I think they're unique in their own ways. But what I like about Doorbird is once you become a Doorbird expert, as you said, it's very simple to get started. It's been one of our most trusted brands for a lot of years.
Yeah.
But it also ties into the larger, more complicated systems. I shouldn't say complicated, into the larger, bigger opportunity systems like a high rise or a multi-residential, because that's your main intercom system. And then it ties into, say, Accentra or something on the grander scale, right?
Yep, for sure. And that's kind of why we was the main purpose of bringing in Doorbird. We saw a lot of opportunity with our multifamily settings, and we could kind of complete that package alongside our Accentra access control and digital platform, right? So it kind of ties into that multifamily space. However, we know installers have a wide portfolio, and sometimes that includes residential. This is a great product to add access control to a house or whatnot, right? So we do get a lot of high-end residential high-end residential applications where guys want to put it on their house, and they want their kids to get in and out and stuff. So if you run into that opportunity, that's a great bridge. Same sort of idea with the software, very simple to use. However, if you do run into a multifamily project as well, it does tie. It's got a open LAN API, so it can tie into existing access control.
Yeah, and another starting point too. We talk about the residential. Doorbird, when I first started here, how many years ago now, was gate control. Probably the number one application for Doorbird in my world at the time was gate control. So high-end gated communities, high residential. You've got a cottage in a Muskoka property up north, right?
Yep.
So again, very simple applications to get started in, right?
Yeah, it's another great bridge for guys to dabble into access control and kind of get comfortable with that. So very with.
Yeah, and just to throw out there, get our viewers' minds kind of wandering. I always like to say, get the sales side of everybody going. Like there's 1 to 2 door applications we talked about. There's gate control we talked about, multi-tenant residential. Those are some of the bigger applications potentially. But then there's detached offices. There's like storage facilities.
Yep.
Gyms is another one that's huge for access control now. That's really just 1 or 2 doors. It's just a lot of people.
That's right.
Churches in fact, I would say churches is probably our biggest growth in access control in our world lately too, right? And then finally, last one, which we've talked about, and I don't want to dive too deep into the political side, is the schools. 100%, the need for access control, digital audit is probably greater than ever on the school side. Agree?
Yeah, for sure. No, we're definitely seeing a lot of municipalities or municipal school boards kind of start to think about this a lot, especially, the thing they're looking for is a lockdown scenario, which makes this world a lot easier. They can just kind of hit a button when it's into a system, right? So definitely there are some school boards that are hovering towards this. Not every school board, but I think eventually they'll all get there. So it's going to be a thing in the future for sure, and probably near future. It's actually happening now. So
my girlfriend's son just had a lockdown at his high school just last week, right? So I mean, these things happen, and to your point, that's a touch of a button now. It's instant. Whereas going way back, I mean, it was dangerous. They would literally put locks and chains on the doors to prevent people from coming and going. Here, in a case of a lockdown, they're not just trying to keep people out, they're trying to keep people in to make sure that they don't wander out unwillingly or unknowingly, right?
Exactly. And and again, another thing we're kind of seeing at schools is Doorbird as well.
Okay.
So on the front office, right? If people need to get in, it's got your camera, and it's got they can kind of open that door from the Doorbird unit, right? So or from their mobile phone, right? So we're actually seeing Doorbird at front doors of schools quite a bit.
Nice.
Other things. So but yeah, I mean just kind of jumping back to small business as well. This is why we built Centrios. So ASSA ABLOY, we're really good at finding brands and kind of inheriting them, right?
Yes.
With Centrios a little different. We built that from the ground up. Reason being is that there was nothing really available for that space, and we kept kind of running into these opportunities that we didn't have anything for. So this is why we built Centrios from the ground up. And the opportunities coming in for small business, particularly right now, I'm working on it's like an indoor playground. It's like this massive indoor playground. So it can be like small business is such a wide range of application. There's so much opportunity out there where people are using mechanical. They've been using mechanical forever. There just hasn't been that product available
Right.
space, and so they want it, but they don't want to go as high end as something that a university or multifamily would use. So they kind of walk away from that, but they don't want to use like your Home Depot stuff, right? They want more than that. So, and it just doesn't provide what they need. So they want that audit capability, right?
Yeah.
So Centrios really provides that. And, I would really start to utilize Centrios, and sorry to do a sales pitch here, but I would really utilize Centrios as a great way, use it as a tool in your belt to, as a new installer in access control to kind of start somewhere. And there's opportunity for it. It's very easy, and you get your grade 1 hardware, so it's providing everything you need as an installer.
Yeah, and two other applications that really, one in particular is daycare. That's always been kind of a key one, right?
Yep.
It gives the administrator access to add, I go to pick up my niece from daycare. Well, I'm not one of the primary people, but they can add me. My sister can send an email through with my photo, and they can send me the invite, and I can, approve, deny, right, as an administrator. And once again, they have a digital audit of everybody coming and going. And then the other one is retirement homes.
Yep.
Again, in a lot of cases, it's not about keeping people out; it's about keeping people in, which sounds terrible. But at the same time, as a family member, you want to make sure that somebody's safe. If somebody's on medication, or hospital, somebody's had a major surgery and they're doped up on medication, they don't want somebody wandering away. So really, a lot of applications like that too.
Yeah, and then like on a personal level, for sure, like my stepfather, he was in a home, and God bless his soul, but he he ventured off. We found him halfway through town, right? And
yeah,
house coat, and it happens. And just to back up your point, yeah, you definitely want to keep them in at that point. So there's nothing cruel about that whatsoever. It's probably more caring than anything.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I want to ask you a question in a second, but you brought up hardware for a minute there, and I want to touch on one fear that a lot of customers have, that is the strike install itself. So the actual install of the electric strike, cutting into the door frame. This is a little bit of a side note. This is just a lot of the experience that I have, is a lot of people are afraid of that. So they're comfortable with all the technology. It's the physical cutting of the frame. If it's a metal door frame in a commercial or a application, that could be a $5,000-$10,000 error if they mess that up. So what are your suggestions for that?
Great timing on this question. So we've recently, so just to go back a bit, we used to have a trainer, Joe Mayer. He was a really good trainer, and we used to hold strike cutting classes.
Okay.
Get people, it'd be HES based. Joe kind of left to the States, and they stole him away from us. But we just brought on Justin Sachurin, who is now our training manager, and he's developed a phenomenal strike cutting class for HES, and he is available. All we have to do is set up a class and send it to you guys, and maybe we can invite some of your integrators who are thinking about doing this, and get them involved, and it's definitely not as hard as you think. We'll give you some great tips and some direction on that. We'll get you certified, and it's a hands-on course. So you cut into the frame and everything, and I think he'll dabble into wiring a little bit too, and definitely not as hard as you think it is.
Yeah, I think they're more worried about the damage than they are necessarily understanding that it's not that complicated.
For sure, and we don't suggest going in blind and just winging it, right? Like,
of course, yeah.
Again, lean on Aartech, lean on us to set this up, and reach out and make that request. Say, I'm interested in doing strike cutting. We're here for you. We have this class available, and it's pretty easy to set up. And we only do like 6 people at a time because it's hands-on. And it's a great course to start and just get your hands dirty and figure out what to do, what not to do, and we'll also show you what strikes to use where. We kind of go through knowledge and how to select your strike. So yeah, it's totally there for you. If you're interested in learning, just reach out to Aartech and we can set something up very easily for you.
Yeah, and I'll simplify it even a little bit further. Obviously, if you're going to get into access control, learning how to do it properly is key. But on that first 1 or 2 installs, don't be afraid to use a locksmith for something like that. Yeah, I did contracting for myself for 10 years, and I still brought in somebody to do the mudding. I could do it, but it took me 3 times as long, and I didn't do it as well, right? So it's a perfect opportunity where you can partner. We can make that referral as well. And we've talked about hosting a class actually in our location because we want to put access control on a couple more doors. So we've been tempted to just have somebody do a cut strike and have a few people invited in to watch as well.
Yeah, we hold our class, so we do have a door set up like in Vaughan. So if you're around that area in the GTA or whatnot, you want to take a little road trip, just
it's pretty central location. It's not too hard to get to.
No, it's good, and yeah, we'd love to set that up. So.
Definitely. Well, we'll put that on the note. So evolving a little bit into before we dive into a bit more here. So what mistakes or applications do you think installers should avoid on their first install? Is there anything that you've kind of learned that, maybe we just don't dive that deep yet?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think the biggest advice, like you can do anything, right? Like you can do anything. I think it's just doing the groundwork on the front end. Again, using our certification courses is key in our world, and we provide Accentra certification. So, our Accentra digital, we do provide a certification course for that to get your hands on, whatnot. I highly suggest reaching out to Aartech and setting something up there if you're interested. Again, a Purio certification. We do hold this sometimes. Like I'll have to get a little more info on the frequency of that course, but we do hold it sometimes. We can post that whenever it comes. But I would utilize those courses and utilize ASSA ABLOY for training, even with Doorbird, even with Centrios. We'll travel around, we'll go to you. You can come to us, whatever. We're very flexible with getting the product knowledge out there, and that's our whole job. That's my whole job.
Yep.
So use us for sure. Reach out. But I definitely wouldn't just just like anything. I wouldn't just go and dive into it.
Yeah.
It'd be silly of me to give that advice. I would say utilize us, and as a manufacturer, we're here to support you. We're here to teach you. We're here to guide you. Use that. So very flexible, very willing to work around you.
Yeah, and I think for me when we started making the push, as you guys have worked very closely to help build my knowledge and my team's knowledge here to really dive deeper ourselves into this. For me, it's the hardware. Man, there's so much hardware to choose from. It's this door set, it's that hinge, it's that, right? So for me, you don't have to, as an installer, I'm speaking to the installers here, you don't have to be alone in that. This is why we have a locking expert in-house specifically to kind of start with the hardware side, right?
Totally. And I think, just going back to the point was like, trust me, if you can do hardware,
yeah,
like you can do access control. You know? Like if you figured that world out and that, I know you're comfortable there, but like you can totally do access control. It's just a different method. That's all. But it's in my opinion, it's a little easier than trying to know all the hardware and what it does, because there's just so many different applications for hardware. So.
Yeah, and the installers don't have to know that. My team doesn't know everything. Again, we have a locking expert in-house to try and bridge that gap, but we've got you guys in full support there. We talk to your team all the time. In fact, we have regular meetings with your team to go over this kind of stuff. So definitely that's the one that I think was a bit overwhelming for me when I first dove in.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just celebrating my 2 years here at ASSA ABLOY.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, thanks. And people, people kind of warned me at the beginning. They're like, there's a lot of stuff, right? With the hardware side, and I'm still learning today, like little things as we go along, and
sure.
I've definitely got a good grip on it now, but there's always something. And I know guys that have been here for 30 years, 26 years, 25 years, and they're still like, so, but when it comes to like Doorbird, Centrios, and I even get that stuff now. So I could get it myself. We've installed Centrios. We had to do like some sales demo units and just it took us like 5 minutes a lock, right?
Yeah.
So we had to do like 30 of them, and it was like literally 5 minutes a lock. So, and then you're set up and you're going on. So
Yeah, and fair enough. And we've talked a lot about, the fears and the hesitations, but let's talk into the benefits now for our installers, right?
Mhm.
So RMA is the number one. I'm sorry, we're all in business to make money. Let's just hit that first. So you're leaving money on the table. I've literally had installers. I told Ali this the other day. I've literally had installers walk away from a $100,000 job, an access job, because they were afraid of the networking, the hardware. It doesn't matter why. But right away, there's an RMR opportunity there. In terms of, again, risking your customer. If I'm doing 70% of the project and I'm bringing somebody in for the last 30%, what's to stop that customer the next time around going to that 30% person and saying, well, can you do the other 70? Because I'd really rather deal with one person on all of these.
Yeah, exactly. I think exactly what you're saying is prepare yourself for these opportunities in the future. Start to prepare yourself now. Access control is going nowhere but up.
No.
Okay.
Right.
And the opportunity is there. I
Yes.
promise you. It is definitely, like I said, again, it is the ship that is definitely one you want to get on. So prepare yourself now before you run into these opportunities, and put yourself in a place where you can say, yes, I can do this, right? Don't put yourself in a position where you have to keep saying no. Start to learn now and get that shield on you and get that armor going, so that you put yourself in a position to say, yes, yeah, we can do that. No problem. So, and I promise you, it's not as hard as you think it is.
No, and when we started speaking, I know I've been working with the company even before you got here, but for me, that was 100%. And anybody that talks to me now knows I talk access control on almost every single conversation call that I have, because I believe that strongly in everything that we say. There's an application for it almost everywhere, right?
Yeah, the opportunity is great, and the more applications we kind of invent on our side, on the manufacturing side, the more those opportunities are growing. There are so many businesses out there that are looking to get access control. I promise you, it's going to be a big deal coming up. And universities, residences are adding access control all the time. I think those campuses are really hovering towards access control from what I can see.
Sure.
K to 12, like that's where the world is going, and more technological based, audit based, convenience based system. So that's definitely, and we're getting to a point too where like mechanical keys are always going to be there, and it's always we always recommend having a key override for access control, right?
Sure.
Just in case something fails and you don't want to start breaking down doors, right? So
right.
Keying's always going to be there. So you're going to want that too. You don't have to ditch that or anything, but you definitely want to add that access control to your arsenal and be able to do both, really. And then you can't fail. There's no failing. You would never say no again.
Right. And I think there's two extensions I would take to that. The more you as an installer are educated on access control, the more creative solutions you can find to use it, because it's not just about customers asking me for access control. It's, I was working on a large complex recently. It was a business industrial. They had access on the buildings, but they had EV chargers for their employees.
Yeah.
And people in the neighborhood were parking in the parking lot and using the EV chargers. So we were able to tie access control into that. So the fob system triggered the EV, right?
Wow.
So the more you know about access control, the more creative solutions you as an installer can actually start to use it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that application. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's there is just a whole world of opportunity out there for it. And I love what you're saying there. Like the more you know, the more creative you can get. And yeah, I would just highly recommend, being comfortable with our products and getting to know them. And again, we're here to teach you everything you need to know about it, and we'll do it twice if you need to until you're because we want you out there, comfortable.
For sure.
That's helpful for us on a selfish note, right?
Yep.
So we want to educate you, we want to get you going, and we want you certified.
And talking about the rekeying or keying, I think that's another RMR opportunity for me, because when you guys introduced Accentra to me, it was the ability of, now my integrator doesn't need to necessarily hire a locksmith to rekey an entire building, right? It could be done by the integrator through a Bluetooth, and paraphrasing here a little bit, simplifying, but essentially I, as the installer on the integration side, don't need to call in a locksmith to rekey, because the super of these 3 buildings lost their master key, and now you're rekeying every lock downstream. You, as the integrator, have a huge opportunity, because that's huge revenue for locksmiths. So some of them don't want to lose that. So that's also why they need to get into these kind of things. But that in itself is, once again, you're a one-stop solution and a huge RMR opportunity in a case like that.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And again, there's going to be, like I said, there's always going to be keen opportunities. It's not going anywhere, for sure. And as UL certifications, die out, and we need to renew those, then, that's another opportunity for you in the keen side. But I think they're going to go kind of hand in hand a little bit. But I can tell you the demand, from my experience in the field and what I see and what I hear on a day-to-day basis, is just the demand for access control is going to be monumental coming up soon. So
I agree. And from the RMR side, I'm going to speak to this selfishly a little bit, as a distributor, as a reseller, or wholesaler. There's a lot of higher margins on a lot of this hardware too. The hardware in particular, there's an opportunity for the installer to make more money. A lot of technology is very low margins in a lot of cases. So not only from adding a lot of extra services like we just talked about, which essentially are low cost to the installer, is just pure profit, the hardware itself has a higher margin.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. It's definitely a good source of revenue, for sure. And the software side of things,
good point.
Software side of things is definitely a great source of revenue as well. Going back to Centrios, as a starter, we do have a partner program in place where you can you get a discount. So there's 3 different plans. There's the basic, which is free, and then there's a $10 plan, which is the standard plan, I believe, and then there's the pro plan, right? So so there's different tiers, okay? And let's take the pro plan, for example. If the end user pays $20 a month, that's not going to change to them. But as an installer, you can get a discount if you set that up as an admin. You get a discount on that $20, and you can make that $6 per month revenue. Okay. Now that doesn't sound like a lot for one system or anything like that, but you add 100 systems over time, you're making $600 a month, really, and who knows where that's going to go in the future. We're the good thing about Centrios is we're always tweaking stuff to make it better for everybody, and we're always listening. So, but as of right now, that can be, you build a good portfolio for Centrios, and there you go. You're making a good source of revenue on the side there for that as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
So there's different ways to do it. I've actually, a very creative way, I was talking to a gentleman, was the end user wanted Centrios. They didn't want to fork over the overhead at the front end. So the integrator actually purchased all the hardware and then put a monthly plan together for the end user.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they actually rented out the equipment. So I thought that was a very creative way to do it, and pretty cool. So
you got the attention of a lot of my security installers there, because they love the revenue and the subscription side, right? So
I was like, you know what? All the power to you, man. That was a very creative way of doing it, and he made it work, and just kind of thought outside the box a little bit. So he's making that revenue off the monthly plan as well, and then it doesn't change for the end user, so there's there's no hiding that fact, right?
Yeah.
But you just get that discount. So yeah, it can end up being a good little extra for you.
Perfect. And honestly, I'll sum it up with this. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a relationship person. I'm about the partnership. So it's not just about revenue. It's about making me hard to replace, right? As an installer, I want to make sure I'm that one stop. I want to make sure I'm that first call.
For sure. And if you provide these ideas, if you equip yourself with all of these technologies that are available and all these products that are available for you, and you put yourself in a place where you can say yes to everything, it's going to spread to, oh, go to this guy, go to that guy, he's a yes guy, right? So we want to make it easier for you, to make it easy for the customer, and put you in a spot to say yes to everything you possibly can. So that's over time, that'll build reputation. You grow your company, and that's what we want for you. So we're here to help you do that. And working alongside Aartech obviously was a great partner of ours. So
yeah, fair enough. And so, okay, well, I don't want to take up too much more time here. So I'm going to throw you a couple of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And then I'll throw in my last kind of little closing remark there. So one myth installers should ignore. What do you think?
Sorry, can you repeat that, Jeff?
Yeah, one myth installers should ignore. What's a misnomer about access maybe that kicking around?
One myth I would say is it's too hard. Not too hard.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not too hard. I promise. It's not too hard. So you try to get the fear out of your mind there, and you're the only one stopping yourself from doing this.
Yeah, I had a couple other questions here, but I think we've already answered them. So I'm going to kind of self-answer them, and you can add to them if you want. Most underrated opportunity, I think everything. Once you know what you're doing with access control, everything is an opportunity. I'm a sales guy. As I said, learn about access control so you can provide suggestions as to creative uses for it, not just waiting for a customer to knock on the door and say, I need access control.
Totally. I totally agree with you there. Yeah. I think, yeah, there's so much opportunity, guys. There's so much opportunity.
Yeah. And there's equal support to back that, right? We've talked about that already. And then the last thing I had here was and again, I think we've already answered this on a few fronts. So one piece of advice to someone who's scared to take their first job, I think it's reach out to me, reach out to you. Let's just get the process started before the job lands at your feet, right? If you have an opportunity, call us immediately. We can start working through that. I say to my customers all the time, I can join them as their access control expert. They don't need to know I don't work for you. It's just bring me in. It helps your learning curve, helps speed up you. And if you win the business, I win the business. It's a win-win. So would you agree with that or have anything to add to that?
Totally. I think just to go back and reiterate the point that, as a manufacturer, we want you to succeed. We are here for you to support you and train you before you go into the field.
Yeah.
You're comfortable before you go out there. Once you do what's the harm in doing a training session?
100%.
What's the harm in that? There's literally nothing you can lose by spending half a day getting your Accentra certification, learning about Centrios, learning about whatever you want. Getting that knowledge, being comfortable with it, and then diving out will be easy. But there's no harm in reach out to Aartech, suggest, hey, I want to learn Accentra. I want to learn Doorbird. I want to learn Centrios. I want to learn strike cutting. These things are there for you. We want you to succeed. Use us, use Aartech, and we're happy to help you out. So.
And for the record, I took the Accentra half-day training myself, right? So it's not complicated. It was quite educational, and honestly, it just gave me a better understanding as to how to speak about it, if nothing else.
For sure, it's just, I think that course is great for understanding how good the software is, and then you actually get excited about it, right? Afterwards, yes. So you're gonna want to go and pitch this to your customers. Oh, hey, Accentra is perfect for this. Same goes with Centrios. You knowing about the product, being comfortable with it, allows you to get excited when these opportunities arise and say, "Oh, I have something for you." Like perfect, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's I think that's my advice there is just get comfortable, use us.
I want to touch on the ecosystem real quick about something like Accentra, and I don't want to discuss it. I just want to kind of have a quick mention to it. So if you think of a multi-residential building, which is a huge explosion in Canada and across the US, not only the access control, but you can tie into a Doorbird intercom. You can put a sticker on a windshield of a car, so when it drives down to the parking garage, it opens and closes instead of me having to carry my fob to ride my bike out the door, right? Cold food storage, the storage boxes, all of these things can tie in. The individual entry at the condominium door itself. So my unit could have an access control lock on it that doesn't require a network specifically on every floor. So it's not just about access control. It's about all these other variables that you can bring in. So if you want to talk about revenue, you really can become a one-stop solution, and it all ties into one network or into one solution.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think you nailed everything there. Is that's the whole point of why we brought in all these products, is to create a complete full ecosystem, one stop for all your needs for a multifamily setting. Even in regards to door closers, kick plates, like anything you can think of in a multifamily setting around the openings. We have that. So again, access control on the door. We've got your card readers on the front doors, your programmers, and then you've got, again, your control ID is for your parking garage readers, and then you've got Luxor One if they want automated parcel delivery, right?
Yep.
We have smart lockers available that allow the tenants to get their packages without talking to anybody, right? Yep. We've got so Doorbird can be on the intercom system on the front unit that ties in to the Accentra platform, right, and into the software. So it all ties in together into this beautiful ecosystem that just functions very nicely. And we've had a lot of great success. The amount of opportunities coming in through Accentra are pretty exciting right now.
Yep.
So it's kind of nice to see multifamily kind of spark up again. I think, Toronto's got a little way to go still, I think, but the surrounding areas, we're kind of starting to see it pick up again. So
yeah, I'm in Barrett, and I can look out my office window here right now, and I can see, no joke, 10, 11 buildings that are 6 to 8 stories, multi-residential, being built. Forget about what's existing, being built at the moment in time. And then there's property that's next in the lot. I can see, this land's been designated for. So it's not going anywhere. It's only getting bigger. The world is driving more security needs in general. But then you add the convenience factor of the storage lockers, right? Like you said, Amazon, food deliveries, all this stuff is happening more and more, especially in a multi-residential environment.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I mean, I could get into Luxor One. It's a whole other bag of worms, right? But, another application for that as well is like, student residents. We're talking to a college right now where they've had issues with food being stolen. Like Uber will deliver it to the front lobby. They come down to get it, it's gone, right? So another application where one of our products just kind of fits the bill, and again, parcel delivery, this is where the world's going. It's another product you kind of want to jump on board with, and we can help out with that too. So we have just about everything you can think of at ASSA ABLOY, and reach out to Aartech if you want to learn more about it, and we're here to help support them.
Perfect. So for the sake of time here, I'll wrap up here real quick. I just want to kind of paraphrase and say, if you're already running the wire for cameras, alarms, if you're already a locksmith on the property, you're closer to access control than you really think. Lean into the pro team here at Aartech, as Chad said. Use us as your first step. We'll connect you to Chad and his team at ASSA, for ASSA, Doorbird, any of the ones that we've talked about today, Centrios and Accentra. Let us guide you. We have the locking expert in-house. We're 100% here to support you with the design, the qualification, and after-sales support as well. So don't risk your customer. Don't be afraid of access control. Just say yes, but learn in advance, as we said, so that you can educate your customer to make sure that they're getting the best solution.
Yeah, and don't wait. Do
100%.
Thinking about it, do it right now. Reach out to Jeff, reach out to Aartech, and just do it right now. We'll help
100%. 100%. Well, thank you, everybody. That went a little bit longer, as I always do tend to talk, and you and I can talk a little bit too. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you joining us today. This is kind of a part one. Everybody that's listening, we will dive a little bit deeper into. We'll bring in some people that could talk a higher level of tech than I can to kind of focus on the next level for everybody. But I think this was a great first step in terms of understanding the complications of and the successes of access control. So thank you very much to both you, Chad, and all the support you and your companies provide us. And Ali, as always, for providing support on here. I know you didn't say as much today as sometimes, but it's a great opportunity for everybody. So keep an eye out for future videos as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me today, Jeff. I love what you're doing here. I think it's a great idea, and whenever we can pitch in and contribute, we'd love to. So
love it. Thank you for all your support. Thank you, Ali. Everybody that's listening, thank you very much, and hope to speak with you soon.
Thank you for joining us. That has been another episode of the Aartech Pro Connect podcast. We'll be back with more discussion soon. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Bye-bye.